Greenland looks empty. Endless ice. Total silence. But beneath this frozen landscape lies one of the most dangerous secrets of the Cold War. In the late 1950s, the United States built a hidden base inside a glacier. Officially, it was a scientific research station. In reality, it was the first step toward hiding nuclear weapons under the ice. The project was called Camp Century. If it had succeeded, hundreds of nuclear missiles could have been launched from beneath Greenland. Undetected, unstoppable, and only minutes away from the Soviet Union. The ice kept this secret for decades. But the ice is melting. And what it reveals could still change the world. After Hiroshima, the world entered a new age. Wars were no longer fought only with soldiers and tanks. They were fought with the threat of total destruction. The United States and the Soviet Union raced to build larger arsenals, faster weapons, and deadlier delivery systems. The goal was simple: strike first or be destroyed. But in the 1950s, nuclear technology was still unstable. Long-range missiles often failed. Bombers were slow and easy to track. To win the Cold War, military planners needed something new. A place where nuclear weapons could be hidden and survive a first strike. Greenland was the perfect place to hide a secret. It was vast, remote, and almost completely covered in ice. There were no cities, no roads, almost no people. More importantly, Greenland sat directly between the United States and the Soviet Union along the shortest path a nuclear missile could travel. But the ice itself was the real advantage. American planners believed the ice sheet could act as a natural shield, hiding weapons from satellites, protecting them from attack, and making their exact location impossible to detect. If nuclear war ever began, Greenland could become the ultimate launch platform. Silent, hidden, and deadly. In 1959, the United States built Camp Century, a city carved directly into the Greenland ice sheet. Beneath the surface were long tunnels cut through solid ice, forming living quarters, laboratories, and workspaces. There was a cafeteria, a library, and even a barber shop. Most remarkably, the base was powered by a portable nuclear reactor, the first of its kind ever used under a glacier. To the public, Camp Century was presented as a bold scientific experiment. But behind closed doors, it served a far more serious purpose. Camp Century was a test. A proof of concept for something much larger and far more dangerous. Almost immediately, Camp Century began to fail. The ice sheet was supposed to be solid and stable. But it wasn't. The glacier slowly moved, just centimeters at a time, yet it was enough to cause serious damage. Tunnels began to deform. Walls cracked. Ceilings lowered as the ice pressed inward. Engineers were forced to constantly dig, reinforce, and rebuild. Entire sections had to be raised just to stay usable. What became clear was deeply troubling. If nuclear missiles had ever been placed inside these tunnels, they would have shifted, jammed, or become completely unusable. The ice that was meant to protect the project was actively destroying it. Nature had exposed a fatal flaw in the plan. At the heart of Camp Century was something even more dangerous. A portable nuclear reactor, buried deep beneath the ice, supplied the entire base with power. It was an engineering breakthrough and a massive risk. Operating a reactor in extreme cold, far from any city, left no room for error. Radioactive waste was stored and buried directly in the snow, with no permanent disposal plan. The assumption was simple. The ice sheet would keep everything frozen and contained forever. No one planned for warming temperatures. No one planned for melting ice. What was left behind was a silent nuclear legacy sealed beneath the glacier. By 1966, Camp Century had reached a breaking point. The ice was relentless. Tunnels were constantly shifting. Maintenance costs skyrocketed. The U.S. military made a quiet decision. The base was no longer viable. They shut it down. The reactor was removed. Personnel were evacuated. But thousands of tons of waste, equipment, and fuel remained buried under the ice. Officially, it was considered sealed and safe forever. Yet, as history has shown, nothing under ice truly stays hidden. Today, Greenland's ice is melting faster than anyone expected. The glacier that once protected Camp Century is receding. What was thought to be safely frozen is now at risk of exposure. Radioactive waste, fuel, and chemical materials could eventually reach the ocean. A project built for nuclear war, conceived in fear and secrecy, may now become an environmental threat. The ice that once hid these secrets is no longer reliable. The legacy of Camp Century is far from over. Camp Century is a story about fear. About how far humans will go when they think the end is near. For decades, the ice hid this secret base. But the ice is melting. And when it disappears, the secret war beneath Greenland may finally come to the surface. A warning from the past that some mistakes don't stay buried forever.